Huskers Illustrated.
Let's go get a pick and score.
Yeah, it's on, baby. 2, 3, 1.
Let's go play some ball. Are you ready?
And now, here's your host.
And welcome back to Huskers Illustrated HD. I'm Aaron Babcock with Mike Babcock for the highly anticipated Babcock and Babcock segment where we take your questions either through Facebook. You can reach our Facebook page at facebook.com/Huskers Illustrated Fan, or you can send us a tweet. And with the hashtag HIHD, we'll take your questions. We'll answer them right here on the show. So without any delay, we'll fire up the iPad and see what we've got. And Mike, Jared in California wants to know who is going to be the surprise player this year on offense and the surprise player on defense.
I'm going to say on offense, Kenny Bell. I think Kenny Bell was a scout team player of the year last year. He's got speed. He's at a position where it's going to be very competitive at a wide receiver. Kenny Bell for offense. For defense, Chase Rome. I think Chase Rome had an opportunity last year. If they would have been in a position where they needed to play him, I think they would have played him. They felt like it was a good thing. They were able to get through the season without trying to use him, but I think Chase Rome is a guy that's going to have a bright future in the defensive line for Nebraska.
Okay, going to Greg in South Dakota, the offensive line, better or worse this year than a year ago?
Offensive line, I think the offensive line will be better from this standpoint, and they're losing some good guys. I mean, Keith Williams, Ricky Henry, DJ Jones had a great year last year at offensive tackle, but I think the offensive line will benefit from the simplification of the offense. And so it depends on how fast they can pick up the new terminology. And there was some talk about having to deprogram the guys, the veteran guys, from the old offense. But I think the simplification will have a significant benefit for the offensive line. Plus the fact now that two offensive line coaches instead of one, so two are better than one, obviously. I think that there's the potential there. And again, the competition, the depth, and offensive line, I look forward at some point to be better.
And Mike Caputo kind of hinted, almost maybe let the cat out of the bag this week, that maybe Brendan Sty would be working as an intern. You would think that Brendan Sty would have a pretty good impact, even if he was only working with him one day a week.
Yeah. Well, based on his playing experience, certainly. And Brendan Sty is really an articulate guy. So I think that just the fact that he's going to be involved in some way, shape, or form is just, if nothing else, you can look at it and point to this guy and say, look at the success that this guy had. But, I think that's really important. Yeah, I think the guys that are working with the offensive line are going to make it better.
Okay, now we go to Emily sending in a question on our Facebook page, and she wants to know who's going to be the forces on the defensive line. Who, obviously Crick's there. Who's going to be his neighbors there on the line?
Well, yeah, Baker, Steinkuhler. I think this is an area where you've got guys where you've got options. You can work in guys that have some experience. So you got Baker, Steinkuhler. You've got Terrence Moore has some experience there. Thaddeus Randall, I think, came on strong there. One of the areas that is going to be depleted by one player, Cameron Meredith's not going to be able to go through spring practice. That's going to have some implications for guys that are competing at the defensive end position. So, Jason Ankra, Josh Williams, Kevin Thompson. There are guys that can compete, and they're going to have an opportunity, maybe a little bit more of an opportunity, because Cameron Meredith's not going to be there. So, and then as I mentioned earlier, Chase Rome's going to be in the mix. Kevin Williams is enrolled and is going to go through spring practice enrolled early. He's starting from scratch there, a young guy, but he's going to get that valuable experience of going through a spring. Jay Guy, who went through spring a year ago before he redshirted, has an opportunity. So there are going to be a lot of guys in there that are going to be competing for jobs. I think the competition is going to make the difference up front defensively.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. The competition will really set the tone for all those guys.
Well, and Jared Crick, there's a guy that, there's an All-American guy right there, and I think that the bar was set so high that some people look at it and think maybe he didn't have that great of a junior season last year, but he did. You look at his numbers; he was as good as he was the year before, and he wasn't playing with Big Sue. That makes a significant difference. So I think it was an important decision for Jared Crick to Nebraska's success that he decided not to put his name in for the NFL draft. I think there's a very talented guy, a guy as athletic and can run like he can. I think he's gonna make those other guys look even better.
That's a great point. Offensive question here. This comes in from also from the Facebook page. Besides Rex Burkhead and Brandon Kinney, who will be some offensive stars?
Well, I think one guy that I won't say necessarily is overlooked, but I think Kyler Reed showed that he was a guy that can make some plays. That there was a point at which it seemed like every pass he caught went for a touchdown, and a very athletic guy. And so I think that he's just going to get better as he has opportunities. And then I think, again, the young guys that are coming in the fall at running back, one or two of those guys are going to probably play right away. Or have an opportunity to make some contributions. So it's going to be a mixture of guys that are already there. And I think obviously Kenny and Burkhead are proven guys. They're solid players. And some of the young guys that come in are going to be going to work their way in there.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for questions today. Coming back after the break, Chris Schmidt jumps back in. We'll break down the offense here in a minute.